Hi everyone! Welcome to my very first YouTube episode. This is Mid-Century Wasted. I have a very special launch episode today. Huh? Am I being cheesy yet? I think I am. Getting red lipstick all over my NASA cup.
Shake up a martini, pull up a chair, and let's go thrifting. This is Mid-Century Wasted.
Thank you so much for joining me, for watching. My name is Jamie, and just so you know, I am just obsessed with mid-century design, mid-century stuff, mid-century everything. I like to go thrifting, whether that be thrift stores, garage sales, estate sales, flea markets, whatever. Any place where I can find secondhand stuff that is from the mid-century era. 40s, 50s, 60s, pretty much. A lot of post-World War II, when America was booming and the space program was taking off and everything was atomic and space age and futuristic. Think 1950s opening day Disneyland, Tomorrowland. To me, that's like peak, ultimate, mid-century. In that vein, I wanted my first launch episode, if you will, to be very special. Are you getting a hint yet? Do you know what day it is?
15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Today is July 20th, and it is the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. That was July 20th, 1969.
Shadow. 4 forward, drift into the right a little. 30 seconds forward, drift. Contact light. Okay, engine stop.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn
blue. We're going to be busy for a minute.
Armstrong is on the moon. Neil Armstrong, 38-year-old American, standing on the surface of the moon. On this July 20th, 1969.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Oh, that looks beautiful, clearly.
It has a stark beauty all its own. It's like much of the high desert of the United States. It's different, but it's very pretty out here.
Beautiful view.
Isn't that something? Magnificent sight out here.
Magnificent desolation. Tranquility Base, Houston. Guidance recommendation is pinged, and you're cleared for takeoff.
To start my channel, I wanted to do a tribute to the moon landing, to the space program, because it ties in with everything that I love, everything I'm fascinated with. The space program was just, it defined the era, and it defined it in so many ways. So the moon landing anniversary is very historic and very important, I think, for my channel to talk about. So I think it's a perfect launch episode to talk about launching rockets into space. So what I want to do is show you stuff that I have thrifted, that I have collected. I pulled things from different hauls to do a space haul, a moon landing haul, and show you how the space program influenced design, especially. Just think of, you know, the 57 Chevy, is that right? I'm not so much a car person, so please forgive me if that's wrong. But the cars with the wings, basically, on the back. Those look like rockets. And it was because everyone was fascinated with the space program. We, as a country, I was not born. I'm an 80s baby, just full disclosure. We as a country were fascinated with outer space. Things that were really popular were Science fiction. I have mom brain. It might take me a little while to like pull up certain words. My brain is tired because I have 2 little kids. So forgive me if it takes me a few minutes to come up with words like science fiction. Science fiction novels, television was first starting. Think of like Twilight Zone. All of that was in pop culture. It was in design. It was such a big part of everything in the 50s and 60s especially. And I love it all. So what I want to start with here is some stuff that I have acquired. First of all, I'm just going to show you real quick here. This is a newspaper. It says Moon Conquered. Let's see if and there's those very famous photos, right, of them walking on the moon. This paper's a little crunched, but you get the idea, right? This is a newspaper from July 21st, you know, the next day. I mentioned television a second ago. TV was relatively new still, and it was super popular by 1969. And this even talks about this in this newspaper. Oh, I just caught a glimpse of myself. I'm like, how old-timey am I right now? Well, you know, you whippersnappers, I'm gonna tell you something out of this newspaper. It talks about how 1 million people watched it on television. And for that time, television being not what it is today, you can get it on your cell phone. You had 1 TV in the house, pretty much. I mean, unless you were super rich, right? 1969, you had 1 TV in the house, and from what I have heard from family members who are alive and remember it and watch it, everyone was watching it. The whole family sat down at the TV and watched the moon landing. Ugh, I get goosebumps just talking about it. All of this stuff just gets me so excited, and this happened 14 years before I was born. You could do some math there and figure out how old I am. So this says Moon Conquered. This is a newspaper. This is the Daily News Tribune from Fullerton, California, and that is in Orange County, which is the county that I live in. I live in Huntington Beach, California. So when I found this and I realized the date, I got it. And I got this from shopgoodwill.com. I actually got this in an online Goodwill auction just because, not to flip it, not to sell it. I don't think I mentioned, I do sell on eBay and Etsy too. I got this for me because I think it's cool. And it's relatively local to where I live. It's a little beat up, like I said. It's not in perfect condition, but it's something fun for me to look through. I'm gonna put my glasses on here so that I can actually see it and read some of it to you. Let's see. Moon Conquered, man's epic feat out of this world. Punny. Astronauts Armstrong, Aldrin leave moon after millions view history-making venture. A small step for man, a giant leap for mankind, said astronaut Neil Armstrong as he became the first man to step on the surface of the moon yesterday. Today, Armstrong and fellow moonwalker Edwin Aldrin Jr., we know him as Buzz Aldrin, took another giant step. They lifted off the surface of the moon in their Eagle lunar lander and headed toward a crucial docking maneuver with the command ship Columbia, being piloted by Michael Collins. It was another breathtaking move by the astronauts, keeping the world in suspense, the whole world in suspense. Now the docking maneuver, blasting out of moon orbit, and the splashdown in the Pacific Thursday are 3 critical actions remaining. So, can you, I can't imagine. You're watching people launching a rocket into outer space, and you know at any moment something horrible could potentially happen. You don't want it to, but it might. What the feeling must have been like watching that on TV, because like I said, I wasn't alive. I didn't get to experience it, but that kind of edge of your seat, watching these critical actions, having to land onto the moon, get out, walk around, pick up some rocks and stuff, post a flag, take some pictures, and then getting the heck out of there must have been so suspenseful for people to be watching on TV. And you can see why it was such a historic thing, and people were glued to their televisions, and the whole family stopped what they were doing to sit down and watch this. I mean, how exciting must it have been? And I'm jealous of people who were alive back then and got to see it live. Because, I mean, it must have just been so cool. And not to mention the patriotism that came along with this, and which is funny because it's got this whole article, obviously, about the moon landing. But then the funny thing is, another article right next to it, Luna crashes on surface of moon. And that's talking about the Russian, whatever Luna was, unmanned Luna 15 space vehicle. So it was a Russian space vehicle, and we were in this massive space race with Russia. And Russia, up to this point, if my history is correct in my brain, which it might not be, I feel like up to this point, Russia was kind of kicking our ass in the space race. They were getting up there and doing more stuff than we were. And so it was this race of who's going to stand on the moon first, and then MFers, America did it. And we planted the flag up there. I mean, it was very like God Bless America should have been playing in the background if it had been directed properly. It was America Pride. We beat the Russians. It was exciting. It was suspenseful. It was a big deal. And when I say that the space program and the space race shaped an era, that's why. That's why. The space program really like hit its stride late 50s, 60s. That's when the space race was really happening. So it's post-war. It's America prosperity. The economy was booming. It was good for consumers. So the people, the American citizens, the people, the world probably was consumed with the space program. So companies marketed towards that. Because people were obsessed with space stuff, you see it in the design. And I keep looking down at the table because I got all the stuff right here that I'm going to show you. One more quick newspaper that we have. And again, this is just in our collection, my husband and my collection. My husband found this one. This is the New York Times, like a special insert or a supplement, special supplement newspaper where when the color photos came out a couple, maybe like a week later, I guess this is. Was it? Or 2 weeks later? It was August, right? August 3rd. There's the flag right on the front, just like I said. I mean, America. My husband found this one. He's a teacher. And found this in his cabinet in his classroom. So whoever had that classroom before him left it in there. Maybe they were teaching about it or something. But he snagged it and he brought it home. More pictures in here. This is pretty cool. There's all the footprints on the moon. I mean, it looks just like a sandy beach, and I am not one that believes in the conspiracy theories that this was done in like a Burbank sound studio. So I believe personally we really landed on the moon and walked on it. If you're a conspiracy theorist and you think that I'm just super gullible, oh well, that's fine. Go ahead and think that. Here, this is so cool. There's Earth. There we are. What part of Earth is that? Oh yeah, it's Africa. So cool. First color photos from Tranquility Base, and that's what they named the little area that they landed on. Alright, so those were found by my husband and acquired at shopgoodwill.com by me. And that was a local pickup. I actually went and picked it up at the local Goodwill facility. I have filmed quite a few episodes already for this channel. I just haven't completely edited them and uploaded them yet. So you will see me go get this, along with other things that I purchased at Shop Goodwill. And I'm going to do a whole video about the whole shopgoodwill.com thing. If you're a thrifter and you like shopping at Goodwill and thrift stores, you might have some feelings about how Goodwill is selling stuff in their own online auctions now. I have some feelings about it, and so I did a video on it, and it is what it is. What are we going to do about it, right? You can either buy stuff at Goodwill or you don't have to buy stuff at Goodwill. The consumer has the power. America. All right, so I'm gonna start here really with the objects of acquisition. I went to an estate sale here in Huntington Beach, and it really kind of catapulted, it really kind of launched me into this whole acquiring and reselling business. This person, I believe, worked for the space program. Here in Huntington Beach, where I live, we have, well, they're leaving or they just left. We have Boeing right down the street from here in this neighborhood. Started out as Douglas, and then McDonnell Douglas, and then Boeing. I don't know when they came here. I think it was the 60s probably. I can take these off now. Ooh, I can see. They came to Huntington Beach, and with this massive facility doing, you know, aeronautics, airplanes, rockets, stuff for the space shuttle program, the space missions, all of it. A lot of research, development, and building was happening right here in Huntington Beach, which is really cool for me and might have something to do with why I am so fascinated with this whole thing. I don't know. Maybe just growing up in this area. Maybe you just hear a lot more about stuff that's happening in the space program just because it's right here and a lot of people work for it. Anyway, when that company moved here and set up this giant facility, it brought with it tons of jobs, and with tons of jobs brought tons of people, and with tons of people brought tons of homes and housing. So the developments, the track homes, the big developments around here, a lot of them were made in the late 50s and early 60s. The home I grew up in, my parents' home, it was built, I think, in 1963. So that whole neighborhood was built all at once. So there's a lot of that cool design here. The 50s and 60s, mid-century. It wasn't super mid-century modern in this area when they were building these homes. So it's not like what you see in like the Hollywood Hills or even in the Midwest or Seattle area. You know, there's a lot of other areas that did more of a mid-century modern, you know, where you're seeing like the crazy angles and stuff. Oh, did I just like, oh, no, I didn't just do that. It was more kind of mid-century, like Americana, folky. There's definitely a lot of houses in my parents' neighborhood that look like gingerbread houses. Let's just put it that way. It was not great. My point, reel it back in, Jamie. My point is a lot of people around here worked for the space program. At this estate sale, I think this person probably worked for the space program because they had a bunch of space stuff. I thought the coolest thing at this estate sale, and it was the reason I went, was for these mission patches. Aren't they cool? They're so cool, right? Here's Apollo 1. Apollo 7. Apollo 8. Apollo 9. There's some missing. Apollo 10. Now, of course, Apollo 11, the moon landing, the Eagle has landed. I don't have that one. When I went to the sale, I got there super early at this estate sale. I think I was like 6th or 7th in line. And I'm like, I'm going to get these damn patches, I swear. The patches were in a case, and it was by number to go see the case and get stuff out of it if you wanted stuff in the case. So I went straight to the case, and I seemed to be the first person. I was just waiting for them to say my number, and I was watching the patches, I thought, the whole time. And I was waiting for them to say my number, and then I went through it, and I just didn't even hardly look at them. I just took them and went to buy them, or I set them at the hold table. It didn't seem like anybody else looked at them. And when I got home, there was some missing that were in the original photo that I saw online before the estate sale. I went back the next day or something. I went to that estate sale twice, and I asked the lady who was working, who checked me out, I was like, did somebody buy some of those? Because I saw that some of them were missing, like the Apollo 11 one was missing. And she was like, oh yeah, I think somebody did buy just a couple of them before you got to them. And I was like, oh, whatever. Like, I didn't see that happen, but so they may have pulled them ahead of time and they just don't want to say anything. They may have sold it to an employee. You never know, but whatever. So I am missing the Apollo 11 one, which is kind of a bummer, especially since this is the Apollo 11 anniversary, but whatever. I can always just go buy one, you know? If I want it that bad for my collection, I'll just pay up for it and I'll go buy one on eBay or something. It's not that big a deal. I got a mass of patches now, and I think that they're really cool. So that was Apollo 11's missing. Who's this one? Apollo 13. Is there Apollo 12? There must be, right? And then this one I think was like the combined USA Soviet one. Like in the 70s, right? There was one where we started combining with the Russians. The Russians! Oh yeah, the Skylab. Skylab 1. Skylab 2. Here's Skybolt. I don't know what Skybolt is. I tried to look this one up too, and I'm not sure. It might have been military of some sort, some other kind of military thing. I don't remember. Skylab 3. And a Columbia Space Shuttle patch. So that's when we started switching to the shuttles and doing the shuttle landings instead of the little pods with the parachutes landing in the ocean. This was, now we can fly it home and land it safely, and we're in a little bit more control. So yeah, I got these at that estate sale locally here in Huntington Beach, and they ranged from, they have prices on the back, like $4 to $5 each, about $4 for most of them. Yeah, so that was kind of the whole reason I went to that estate sale, so I was really happy to get these. And I have looked online to see about reselling them, about the value of them. My husband and I really want to keep them, so it kind of doesn't really matter what they sell for. But they don't seem to sell, is the thing. Oh wait, I want to tell you the cool thing about some of these. Doing research on these patches, I found there's certain ways to tell if it's the original patch or a reproduction. Can you see that right here? See the horse, the wings? Right here. In the patch. Oh, it's so hard to see. Right there, right above my finger, there's a hidden 13. The number 13, I'm trying to turn a little bit. 1-3 is hidden in the design of this one. See, this is the Apollo 13. So it has these little, Easter eggs, these little hidden things. And see, it's also got the cloth back. It doesn't have, see how this one has like the shiny iron-on stuff on the back? This one has just cloth, and you can see the threads. So that's how you can date them and find out if they were, some of these actually went into space. I don't know how to tell if these were the ones that were launched up and then brought back down to be sold as basically souvenirs, I guess. But, or probably given to the people who worked on the space program is what I'm thinking. I mean, that's where I think why this guy had these, is he probably worked for, what was it, Douglas back then? McDonnell Douglas? I don't know. It was cool to look all of these up and research them and find out, to try to date them and find out. I mean, it turned out, obviously, because of where I acquired them and they were all together in a set, it was like, yeah, these are the real deal. These are the original ones. These aren't reproductions. And when you look at the quality of the ones that were released later, I mean, you can just tell. Like, they're not as detailed. The images aren't as detailed, and they just overall look, like reproductions, like they were made in the 80s and 90s and sold in mass production. So anyway, my husband and I are thinking we're going to frame these. Once we get the complete set, like I said, I'm missing a couple of them. Eventually I'll acquire the rest and we'll frame them out really nice. Maybe even frame this newspaper and put that in there. Do like a whole, thing on our wall with the tribute to the space program. And then like a couple estate sales later, I found a couple more. And this estate sale was actually like an antique dealer or someone who may have had a little bit of a hoarding problem. Was one of those where like the homeowner was there, like in the house, and it was kind of awkward. So anyway, this person had like prices, like their antique store. Maybe they had an antique store. I think that might have been what it was. They had their antique store prices on everything. Or maybe they had a booth at an antique mall. That sounds more like it. So anyway, I got some more patches, right? This one's probably my favorite because see right there, Ride. See, those are the astronauts' names. Sally Ride, first female astronaut, first female up in outer space, right? Cool. I haven't looked all these 3 up really. There's that one. Dedicated to safe space flight. Rockwell International 105. I don't know about that one either. And these ones, I got these just because these were $1 each, those 3. And I had already had the other ones and I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm collecting space patches now, so I might as well buy these, right? Because that's what we do. When you collect, you kind of start just collecting. And I made a face when I said hoarding because it's a slippery slope into the hoarding realm, right? All right, so there's the space patches. Okay, now I want to talk about how the space program was influencing design. Now, I talked about, you know, the 57 Chevy. I really hope it is the 57 Chevy because I keep saying 57 Chevy, and if it's not the 57 Chevy, I'm going to look really stupid. It might not be. Just the name 57 Chevy is just in my head, but Lord knows why. Just the big cars with the wings on the back that look like rockets. That is just the classic example of space program, space age, atomic slipping into design. Atomic, too. That's a little different. That's not really space program. That's like atomic bomb. Kind of a rough thing to talk about. But, you know, the science was important to us in the 50s and 60s. So here, I'm going to start with this. This is the Junior Deluxe edition of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. And I collect books. I love books. I'm a reader. At least I was before I had kids and I had time to do things like read. Quiet time to read. Oh boy, how you miss that when you have 2 little kids. Anyway, obviously 20,000 Leagues by Jules Verne was not written in that era. When was it written? 1800s? 1850s? 60s? I'm gonna have to look that up. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was written long before the space program, but this book was, ooh, I should have looked up the date on this. I know that these books are from that era. This whole set, the Junior Deluxe with the illustrations on the cover. All right, copyright MCM LVI. MCM, for those of you who see Roman numerals, MCM is easy to remember because first of all, MCM is mid-century modern, right? That's the abbreviation for that. So we know MCM, we recognize that. I recognize that right away. MCM is 1900. So we see MCM, you know, it's 19 something as far as the date. And LVI, L is 50, V is 5, and I is 1. So 55 plus 1, 56. 1956 is when this book was published. So, yep, that fits right into space program, space age days. So look at those divers and that boat. I mean, could that not be a rocket ship and astronauts? I mean, come on. You can't tell me that's not influenced by the space program. Illustration, look at those illustrations. Isn't that funny? Really, this drawing on the inside is really funny. To me, that's like Swamp Thing. But, you know, science fiction, like I said, science fiction was big. People were reading science fiction. The serials, comic books were becoming really popular. There was a lot of, you know, rocket, space, alien serials, and even the radio programs. Think of like War of the Worlds. Yeah, so it was everywhere. I mean, down to a Jules Verne book, which, hey, whatever gets kids to read, right? Put some flashy graphics on it and hope the kids read the book. This is in my personal collection. I don't even know if anything that I have out here is for sale. A couple little things are for sale, but that was from an estate sale in Huntington Beach, along with, and you know, that one was weird. I don't really know what I paid for that because it was not the first day of the sale. It was maybe the second or third day of the sale, and I brought up a bunch of stuff and they were like, $15 for everything. And I was like, okay. So I don't really know what I paid for that book. I think it was priced at like $4, and then it was maybe half off or something like that, 30% off. I don't know. So it was a couple bucks for that book, and I like it, and I have it actually more like on display in my bedroom. Ooh, that's something else I gotta show you. I gotta remember to show you my lamp at the end of this. That's super atomic. Okay. Anyway, another thing I got at that same estate sale was this guy. Let's turn this so that it looks really cool. Ooh. Do you know what this is? It looks like a rocket. I mean, it looks like a space pod or something, right? It's got the same total lines to it. This is a juicer. So, you know, you stick the half a lemon or orange or whatever in there, and you juice it, and then open this up, and then this piece right here slides out, and you get the juice. But wouldn't that look cool, just sitting in your 50s, 60s kitchen? This is a Juice-O-Mat juicer. This actually I do have for sale in my Etsy, and I'm gonna link all of my shops and stuff down below. Down below, as people on YouTube say. It's gonna be down below. It's gonna be up here. Okay. I'm just being goofy now. This video is getting long already. I had a feeling I was gonna have a problem with long videos because I'm long-winded when I talk in real life too. The design, right? Look at the design. I mean, it just screams. Anything all chromed out, all metal. This thing is heavy too, by the way. American made, right? Oh, I hope that's American made. I should look on the bottom before I say that. Is this American made? Ha! It's American made. Rival manufacturing company in Kansas City, Missouri. The thing about thrifting things from the mid-century specifically, which is what I do, you find that the stuff is still in relatively good shape. It's still, just the fact that it's still here, it hasn't fallen to pieces by now, is because it was made really well. Things were just they were really made well back then. They don't make things the way they used to. What next? I'm gonna save that little guy for last. Oh, just a little side note here. Here's National Geographic. Obviously, this is not old. This is the July 2019 National Geographic. But I just wanted to show it because there we go. This talks about the space program. It talks about the moon landing because of the anniversary. And I personally get a National Geographic subscription. This is the only magazine subscription I get because I'm into photography, I'm into history, I'm into just everything about National Geographic. I read through this last night, most of it, some of it, half of it, but I thought it was really cool and I wanted to share it because if you're interested in this topic, this has a lot of cool stuff about the moon landing. It's got the whole history of, you know, the space race with Russia. You just saw the suits. Here they're talking about the different kinds of rockets that were used. I just thought it was a really good article and it had a lot of good history in it. Here's the space race right there. See Russia versus the United States. It was cool. It was a cool article. And I think it did talk a little bit about how it influenced design too. Sputnik style, Starburst style. You see a lot of Sputnik and Starburst in this era. Oh, it still has a price tag on it, so don't mind that. This is, I believe this is a Christmas ornament. That's how I'm gonna be using it, is as a Christmas ornament. But it does have these kind of like odd little, see those little like vent holes right there? I don't really know what that's all about. Anyway, I just got this yesterday at an estate sale, along with this guy. And those are $2 each. And again, suspiciously made. I don't know. I think they're ornaments. They have the little hooks on the top. I'm going to use them as ornaments. If that's not what they were originally intended for, then I don't know what they were intended for. So, oh well. But you can see, you know, Sputnik, Starburst, and Sputnik was Russian, by the way, just so you know. We always want Sputnik style stuff. And it's like, ooh, that's anti-American. That's pro-Russian to be into Sputnik. But anyway, when you see the ball shape with the little spokes sticking out, that's Sputnik inspired. And then Starburst inspired is just, I mean, 50s, 60s Starburst was on a lot of stuff. So these were $2 each at a estate sale. Those are going on my Christmas tree. Someday when my kids are old enough to not destroy my Christmas tree. So here's some more Starburst stuff. Whenever I see a Starburst, I get it. I mean, I'm a sucker for it. It kind of doesn't even matter what it costs, but this was only 50 cents. This was at an estate sale where they were just kind of clearancing out everything else. It's really dirty. It's super dirty. I need to wash it. Eventually I'll get this listed. It's not listed now, but I'll get this listed to sell it. But although, you know, it's got, see that right there? That's not a chip. That's actually a bubble inside the glass. It's pretty cheaply done. I might end up having to just keep this one. But for 50 cents, I don't really care. Yeah, it's definitely got some bubbles and imperfections in it. Oh my God. Can I even put lipstick on? Look at this mess of myself. Wow. I don't normally wear makeup. I'm gonna just, full disclosure, put that out there. I'm not a big makeup person. I got fancy for y'all today because it's my first video, but in the videos that I've already filmed where you see me shopping and talking in the car, like on camera before I go into an estate sale, you'll never see me talking on camera while I'm driving, by the way. I have big feelings about that. If I'm ever in a car in a video, it's because the car is parked and probably turned off and I'm about to go in somewhere or I just got out of somewhere. Don't YouTube and drive, people. Drives me nuts watching videos when people are driving as they're YouTubing. Anyway, what was my point? There I go, losing my point, my train of thought again. It's gone, I don't know. So you'll see me in the things that I've already filmed that I haven't put up on YouTube yet. You will see that I am not wearing makeup. It's a feat just to get up that early to go to these estate sales and just shower. And I've usually got wet hair. I look like a drowned rat. Have I mentioned that I have 2 little kids and I'm tired? I think I've mentioned that maybe 8 times already in this video. But that just defines me. That's, you know, hashtag mom life. I am personally not able to get myself all dressed up every single day. All right, moving right along. Another Starburst object. An object of Starburst affection. There's the Starburst on it. There's another one. This is a Pyrex, Corning, same thing. Coffee carafe. And this was at a thrift store. And it's not in fantastic shape. I mean, you can still see the Starburst on there. See, I'm like turning it right here. There's Starbursts all around. But just look at the shape of it. The shape of this right here, of the handle. The shape of the top. These angles. These swooshy, pardon my technical design words, swooshy. I went to design school, just so you know. I guess I should talk about that a little bit. I am a designer. I haven't really said what I do other than YouTube and thrift for cool things. I'm a graphic designer. I went to college for interior architectural design. So I do have a big design background, and that is definitely 100% why I am so drawn to amazing design. Just the shape of this, I'm just like, oh, and then you throw some Starbursts on it and I'm all about it. Now this did have the, you know, the gold is just fading off of this one, and it's a little cloudy down at the bottom. You could probably, I don't know, the vinegar and rice trick. Do you guys know that trick where you put vinegar in it and you let it soak, and then you put dry rice, uncooked rice in there, and you shake it all up, and then it cleans the coffee carafes? I haven't tried it, not with this one, but I think this would clean up okay. I think I got this for, I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to do that thing where I look it up and I put it right up here or right up here somewhere and tell you where I got this and how much I paid for it. But I know it was at a thrift store. And it was probably just a couple bucks. But I do plan to resell that. I don't know if it's listed yet. It might be. Go check my Etsy and eBay stores and see if it's listed for me, okay? All right, I think I am down to my second to last, because I'm going to show you my lamp. My second to last space age inspired, space age era item. Now, along the same vein of me not wearing makeup very often, I also don't wear jewelry very much. I've got my little diamond studs here, and that's about it. I think I just haven't tried to get into jewelry. And maybe coming from it from a mid-century vintage standpoint, I am going to start acquiring and liking jewelry more. Maybe it's just modern jewelry that I'm not really very fond of. My husband and I were given a big box of my husband's great aunt's costume jewelry. She passed away many years ago, and my in-laws, my husband's parents, had the jewelry just up in their attic in a box. And then when I started, you know, getting into reselling and doing all this, they were like, here, like, dig through it, see if there's anything you want, anything you can resell, do whatever you want with it, basically, because they were just going to get rid of it all. I love family heirlooms. The stuff that I will never part with is like that teapot right there, or this pitcher right here that you can't really see because there's a glare. That stuff is family heirlooms. And I am just a sentimental sucker when it comes to stuff being passed down. So I've got this whole big box of costume jewelry, and it's from my husband's side, but it's still family. That's still, you know, important to me. So I don't know if I'll be really even selling any of it. We might. There might be stuff in there, but we'll definitely keep some of the special stuff. I've already pulled out a turquoise necklace. Not real turquoise, but turquoise color necklace. Anyway, moving right along to my thrift stuff. Oh, and I'm going to do a haul video of me sorting through that box because, and it's not really a haul video, it's just a jewelry sorting video, I guess. Because it's got some cool stuff, and I know nothing about jewelry. Truly nothing. I know nothing. I don't even know what I'm holding right now in my hand. Well, I know it's a pin. Anyway, I found this at an estate sale yesterday, the same place I got those Christmas ornaments, those kind of Sputnik-y Christmas ornaments. It's gonna be hard for this to focus on there. You can kind of see it. It's a little bit blurry, but you get the gist. This is a pin. See, just like a pin you would wear on your shirt or something. I saw this and I was like, wait a second. That looks like something out of the space program. That looks like a rocket. It doesn't really look like a rocket. It looks like a space pod, a space module, whatever you call those things, right? And so I was like, all right, how much is that? And she was like, see, go right there. It's like $2. I was like, okay, taking this home with me. So I don't know what the deal is with this. I tried looking it up online. I didn't find anything similar at all. But even as I was just going through these patches for y'all, I mean, those are the same, right? So this is like the Apollo 1 little Apollo, you know, space pod deal on this pin. Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. So it's like, what do I do with this pin? I think it's so cool. I just got it. I haven't had time to really think it over. But what, am I going to just start wearing pins now? I don't know. I'm not really a pin person. How dare I part with it? I don't know. And this was a Huntington Beach sale, so it could have been something that they gave to people working on the space program, for all I know. I couldn't find anything similar at all online, so I have no idea what this was about. I thought that was really neat, and so I got it. I grabbed it. We'll see what I do with it. I can't keep everything. That is kind of the main point of all of this, is I started acquiring. I've always been super into mid-century design, mid-century stuff, and then I started thinking, why do I not have very much of it? My home is just decorated in generic Target / IKEA. And then I started thrifting, and it was like a big mallet hit me over the head. And I was like, duh, I can actually get stuff that's truly old instead of new stuff made to look old that isn't built as well. I can get the original stuff and fill my house with beautiful things that way. And it's way cheaper for the most part when you thrift things and you find things just out in the wild. Now, if you're buying it, if you're collecting and you're buying things as they've been flipped, of course you're going to be spending more money, but sometimes it's worth it to do that. If there's something that you just can't find and you love it and you want it, and somebody else found it for you and they're reselling it, you know, save up and buy it. And that's what I do. Oh my gosh, I got to show you that too. Oh, there's something hanging right above me that's atomic and space age. Well, I didn't thrift it though. I've had that for a long time. Oh, I'll show you. I'll show you anyway. Why not? I like collecting things that just filling my house with things that make me happy, and mid-century design makes me happy and I'm drawn to it and I know a little bit about it. And so that's for the most part what I like to resell on eBay and Etsy. My taste does shift into the 70s occasionally, especially like the mod, you know, globe pod, super mod. And again, that's kind of spacey when you think about it, like the mod patterns and stuff. 70s get into a little too like acid trippy for me a lot of times, but for the most part, I do like 70s stuff too. But anyway, I'm gonna show you these last two things. I'm gonna take the camera and walk around with them before I forget. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like this kind of content. I will be taking you along with me thrifting and estate sailing and showing you what I have to resell, and I'll even talk about stuff that's sold and the value of it. So if that's the kind of stuff that you like to watch, just subscribe and follow along with me and like the video and, you know, do the thing like the like, share, and subscribe whole deal, right? Let me take you with me upstairs and show you my lamp, and I'm also going to show you this clock real quick. All right, so this clock, please don't mind just the mess of crap that I got right there. This clock is not even in its normal location because I've been, you know, taking stuff down, moving stuff around, shuffling my whole life lately and redecorating with these thrifted finds. But this clock is not thrifted. I have had this, oh my gosh, for so long, probably from when I was in my early 20s. So I'm going to say like early 2000s-ish. I believe I got this at Z Gallery. And the spokes here are all car antennas. So you can adjust and change the whole shape of it. Right now I have the 4 cross pieces a little bit longer, and then those ones in a little bit. You can make them all uniform and all circular. It's not even running. That's not the time. I don't know what time it is, but that's not it. I gotta put a battery in it. I gotta find a new spot for it. There was an empty nail on the wall, and I just shoved it right there for now, just until I find a new spot for it. But there you go. There's some Starburst design for you, right? I just love that clock. I mean, it's definitely a reproduction. It's definitely it's even getting old. It's a new thing that's getting old because it's from the early 2000s. I mean, it's like 15 years old probably. All right, let's go upstairs. All right, there is my atomic space age style, space age era lamp that I love oh so very much. I recently acquired this at an estate sale. It is not the original shade. I will show a picture of what the original shade was, and holy cow, do I wish I had it. It's really, really cool. I'm gonna probably, I mean, obviously I'm hunting for the original shade, just finding one, but I think the odds of that are very, very, very slim. Like a shade without the lamp would be very, very strange to find the exact one. But I did find somebody who is on eBay who makes that same style of shade. So it would be new, it would be a reproduction, but I contacted them and they said that they could definitely reproduce it for me to look pretty much exactly like the original shade, which would be really awesome. Anyway, we got this at a estate sale. I'll show you how it lights up. Click 1, the base illuminates. Click 2, the whole lamp turns on, the base turns off. And I bet you can guess, click number 3, both lights are on. Isn't it cool? So yeah, at this estate sale, day 1 of the estate sale, it was $225. And I just couldn't do it. I knew this was not something I was going to resell. This was something that I wanted to keep. And $225 was just way too much for one lamp without the original shade on it. But then the next day, everything was 30% off and it was still there. And my husband went to the estate sale to look for records, because that's kind of his thing, is he collects vintage vinyl records. And he got it for me. It was an anniversary present. So it was like $157. But it was our anniversary, our wedding anniversary. And yeah, he got it for me. And he said, so here it is. And I love it. I'm so glad we got it, even if we paid, you know, kind of a lot of money for it. Shade is just, you know, it's whatever. It's fine. I actually do have another shade in the garage that I might try on this, just to see if, because I just feel like that one's a little like too tall and skinny. And when you see the original picture, like the shade kind of comes down a little bit lower. I'm going to play around with it with more shade, a different shade. I mean, it's not even in that great a condition. You can see like the brass is tarnished and stuff, but I don't care. I love it. I'm so happy we have it. And it was such a nice anniversary present from my husband. And with a different shade, it's going to be perfect. So there you go. That's my whole video. Tribute to space age, atomic style. Tribute to the moon landing for the 50th anniversary today. And thank you so much for watching. And stay tuned, because I got a lot of content on the way. All right, catch you later. Bye.
And we're number 1 on the runway. 7, 6, 5,